So where is the Perth property market going in 2024 after seeing some tremendous growth in the past few years for a variety of reasons? Where does that leave you potentially as a first home buyer or first time investor into the Perth market, looking at that recent growth and thinking to yourself, will it continue? Will it go away? Will history repeat itself? Is it even worth investing into the Perth market at all now? All that stuff, you're in the right place. We'll go through that today. Let's see if we can figure it out together. Let's jump into it. So every quarter, the Real Estate Institute of Western Australia produces an update. The most recent one, Cathart, who is the CEO of REIWA, pretty much said a forecast of a 10% growth for the 2024 season. Hotspots in general for Perth over the past 12 to 24 months have seen up to a 30% increase. If we're looking on that, the Perth house prices stats here have increased 15.2% compared to the national average of 8.1%. So that strong demand is driven mainly by population growth and migration, but then obviously the challenges to the rental market and the building sectors overall, people being priced out of their rentals, then looking to enter the market, and people no longer seeing building as the best option, so they're looking to enter the market, along with investors that are looking to take advantage of where Perth has been going. That's keeping demand at an all-time premium, but the big main market mover for supply, because we're at record lows since November last year, 2023, is the upsizer market. So people that generally, due to increase in families or just anything of that nature wanting to upsize, due to the supply being so low, they can't list their home for sale and then move to another house because they're looking at where the options are and there's just not enough to entertain them, so they're staying put. But that demand is at an all-time high because it's not just those upsizers and the general market people looking to purchase, it's also your first home buyers, your people that would have rented for a lot longer but are just not seeing it as desirable, and then the investor pool on top of the amount of migration that's happening in Perth overall. So if we sort of look at the crux of the matter, it does always circle back to the supply and demand. WA's population is growing by 3.1% last year, and that population growth is around about 87,000 people. But then the new homes are factored in to be about only 14,000. So if you factor in about 2.5 people per household, so as referenced, massive shortfall in new homes with only 14,000 completed, and this imbalance is putting pressure on the market, the established home market, and then causing prices to rise above what the metric sort of would be in terms of just naturalized growth for Perth as a whole. So then circling back a little bit with all this, where does that sort of leave the Perth property market overall? A lot of people say it can't just continue this catabolic growth month on month, year on year, outperforming pretty much every other state in Australia. The conservative estimate that REIWA is putting out at this sort of time, start of the year, January, March being now, but January is when they made that initial prediction, it is a 10% growth in house prices for 2024, but it's not just buying that's going to be affected. The rents are also expected to rise, though both growths will be predicted to slow, and it's normalized as an estimate. What you're sort of looking at overall is, I can't really see a market correction being a thing, but a natural consolidation phase, as the biggest thing that will change in 2024 will be the supply levels returning to a more normal period of time. And I'll just quickly load up what we've got here. So the data had listings falling to a record low of 3,648 at the end of December, which is 23% lower than it was in November, but then 49% lower than in December 2022. And overall, if you're sort of factoring that in, if available homes for sale returns to average levels and then even demand stays at where it is overall, the prices will sort of more like stabilize. Good performing suburbs will continue to grow. Perth Metro as a whole will continue to grow for the remainder of the year, but you won't see, at least from what the data is suggesting, you won't see the catabolic growth, even if all the other numbers grow as expected in terms of rents, lack of new home builds, and the apprehension for people to go into the building market. Migration numbers continuing to rise, and investor focus in terms of people's next investment purchase Australia-wide being into Perth. If all those demand factors continue to increase and steady, and then supply levels just increase back to more of a baseline, more supply, even with a higher demand, we'll just see those prices, as expected, continue to rise, but in a more conservative tone. Better performing coastal region suburbs will perform better than the eastern sort of catchment of homes that are sort of being built out. Anything really majorly east of the north to south freeway, which is the Kwinana-Mitchell freeway, and then factoring in all the way up to about Yanchep, Two Rocks, and south down to Mandurah. Regional, again, a slightly different approach, but that will also note probably a continued growth, slightly outperforming those eastern catchment homes. So if we circle back, where does that sort of leave you as a potential first home buyer or investor taking advantage of your next purchase being into the Perth market? It's still going to be fairly competitive. The demand numbers aren't going to go away. Even if supply does increase, there will be a slight bump to demand as well, because that supply will bring in new buyers that are selling in order to buy again. And then those demand numbers aren't really tapering off, especially in those desirable suburbs. It won't just be a scattergun approach where any suburb you look into will face tremendous growth. Best performing suburbs will continue to be the best performing suburbs, and then the middle to lower, less desirable areas that offer better affordability or just other things like that, they will most likely see continued growth, but through a more consolidation phase than anything too catabolic. And then it will still resort back to, especially with where the pressure is on the established housing market, is homes that have land availability, not just in terms of overall square meterage, but actual green title land compared to people looking to purchase, even if it is in better locations, people looking to purchase units and stuff where you don't actually have control over via either strata or other things, control of the land. Investment stuff aside, but we're looking to the big change in 2024 will be the supply numbers increasing, meaning more people looking for homes that are family orientated, and then the investors will continue to take advantage of the opportunities where they see fit, but the supply levels will increase in the desirable suburbs, but also those buyers are looking to be purchasing in the desirable suburbs, generally more as an upsizer. Overall, that's the general summary of it. If you've watched this far, I have got a small growing group that is focused on the Perth market, looking to just create a community around good, logical, fun purchases. And yeah, it's a link in the description. If you have any questions watching this video so far, feel free to put them in the comment below. Otherwise, on my page, there's a few methods that you can find in ways to reach me. I'm Thomas Whitford. Much appreciate you watching this.